Hello everyone, welcome back. My November plan with me is what I have for you today, and I got my trusty traveler's notebook here. I keep some other journals in here along with these two small ones, but I took them out because they're really bulky, and so using the traveler's notebook with all that stuff in it is kind of tedious. My bullet journal these days consists of this pretty small Tomoe river paper insert, and I'm gonna just flip through what I have for October so far. Um, Ignore the fact that I haven't checked off any of my goals. I'm working on it. What happened with these is that my priorities changed mid-month again, and then also one particular task is taking much longer than I anticipated, which does happen, but hopefully I'll get to check off something in these last couple days. I filmed this actually a few days ago, and then I was interrupted by something, and I'll get to that in a little bit. But you can see here when I filmed the initial flip through, I was on the 25th, and I had planned on getting it done, but I probably won't go up until the 27th or possibly the 28th. I do try to get these up before the new month so you guys can get some ideas, plan your own journals alongside them, but I can only do my best, and I'm doing my best. And the quick log for this month, I ultimately am kind of annoyed by. I don't think it looks very good. It takes a minute to fill out, and I just don't think it really adds anything to my routine, so I'll definitely be discontinuing this idea of a quick log. I think I might kind of work it into my like a monthly log type of thing. My weeklies and dailies were very kind of impromptu. I did them as I went. One of them I actually planned in advance, but most of these I just picked a good fountain pen and just started writing. I filled in whatever I felt like filling in, and it was very fun. This was one week that I kind of set up in advance, but then as you can see, the week got away from me a little bit. I only bullet journaled a couple days out of the week. But I am a huge fan of the visuals of this spread, which is weird for me because I don't really like the color yellow, but that Noodler's Apache Sunset is just beautiful. I would recommend it to anyone who's into fountain pens. The shading is just incredible. It does look very much like fire, and you can see I used it again on this week. Really loving it, just big blocks of beautiful shading. It adds a lot of decoration to a page without you really needing to do anything, which is kind of nice since I've been so busy. And that's also the reason I've gone with running task lists a lot of these days. When I'm pretty busy, having just one big pool of tasks for the week makes things so much easier. I do usually like to write out my specific days just to keep me aware of what I'm going to be working on, but most of the real planning happens at the beginning of the week when I set everything up, and then I just try to go and get things done. So I'm leaving an extra spread for next week, and then you might be able to see I have put a little bit of pencil markings on this page, plan out how I want my November pages to look. I'm just going to do a couple of spreads. Nothing too intricate because I expect November will be very busy as well. And my theme is going to be used very loosely. I just want to touch on how chilly November is and the cozy comforts of things like knitting, and well, that's pretty much it. I wanted to do like a knitting theme, but I also wanted to get the feel of November where it's very chilly and you have warm beverages and, you know, just that idea of being cozy and warm when it's cold outside. And the first step is going to be actually setting up my monthly goals page. And on the left side is where I'm going to put my actual goals. So I have sections here for different areas of my life that I would just want to categorize things with. And then on the right is going to be my monthly log, and I'm gonna kind of double the monthly log as a quick log, so if there's nothing really exciting happening on a particular day in advance, I want to just write in what I did on that day, just a very quick little note. There's not a lot of space here, so I cannot be very verbose, and I just want to capture the essence of each day as I go. And for the decoration of this page, I'm just doing what I was hoping would be a wash down the middle. It ended up being very patchy, and I'm glad that I had planned to go over it with detail anyway, because I wouldn't have liked to leave it like this, but something about the water on the Tomoe river paper, it just doesn't seem to flow as well as when I've watercolored in notebooks like the Leuchtturm and the Rhodia. Something about the paper seems to collect oils, which is one problem, so there are some parts where I might have touched the page too long in the same spot, and then later when I painted over it, there was like a whole fingerprint visible there, and so there's something about the Tomoe river paper that makes watercolor a little bit weird, but I'm just gonna go with it. I had planned to kind of cover this up anyway. In the future, if I want big blocks of color like this, I might decide to do something else, like maybe with markers, or even just like cutting out a piece of paper and taping it in or gluing it in might work. But for now, this was just fine. It was just, a learning experience. Over the wash, in quotes, I just put this little pattern. It's meant to look like stockinette stitch in knitting. If you've ever looked at stockinette stitch, or if you've inspected a knitted sweater, it looks like a bunch of V's kind of stacked up on top of each other in sort of a grid shape. And it's very easy to paint, and it creates a nice texture, especially when you vary the colors just a little bit. So here I use mostly purples, but by varying it as I went, I kind of create these patches of color that looks a little bit like a variegated yarn, which is kind of nice. I like it. And to finish up this spread, I just use a Tombow dual brush pen to highlight every other row where I plan to write things. I just like how that looks. And then I used my TWSBI Eco, which is currently inked with Robert Oster Deep Sea, which is this really pretty teal color. I didn't go into this thinking that I would be using a lot of this, but it ended up looking very nice with the purple, so I used it on a lot of the spreads, if not all of them. And finally, I wrote November in big black letters and just outlined it with a white gel pen to make it stick out a little bit more. And my second spread is where you're going to see another pretty big change from previous months. So up until now, I've kept my gratitude and expense trackers together, and they've been pretty static as long as I've had my bullet journal. I don't really change them very often, but this month I am going to. So just a little note, I've got one of these Evo planners. It's a Kickstarter I backed, or it might have been an Indiegogo. It was a crowd-funded notebook, and I got one, and it has a section for daily gratitude with a nice big space to write down what you're grateful for, and it's kind of part of the process. So instead of keeping gratitude in my bullet journal, I'm going to be using it in that Evo planner, and I am hoping to do some kind of formal review, walkthrough type thing of that planner in the future, but I wanted to work with it a little bit, see how the system works before putting thoughts together on it. But that's why the gratitude tracker is gone. And I'm also simplifying my expenses this month. I've split out into all of my discretionary categories, so things that change from month to month and depend on how good I am, how well I stick to a budget, and things like that. And I just want to do a check-in every week and see how much I spent in each category during that week. I just think that focusing on the discretionary expenses rather than just logging all of my bills is gonna make me focus on the choices I'm making and not just where the money is going. Now, a funny story about the interruption I mentioned earlier. When I started making this second spread, right after I started it, my boyfriend came in and told me that the dog had been sprayed by a skunk and that we needed to do something about it. So that was pretty much my night, and then I had to come back, finish the actual spreads, and then now I'm doing my editing, but it's kind of an ordeal that took up a bit of time. And the second spread features more watercolor stockinette stitch, and this is just a little log for the knitted gifts that I am planning to make for Christmas this year. And I've got some pretty lofty goals going, but I think by splitting them up into these milestones based on yardage, so pretty much how much yarn I have used so far, it's an easy thing to measure, and it's an easy way to track progress on a variety of projects that are very different, so I can make sure that I'm on schedule for all the gifts that I'm knitting this year. And now we're on to the final spread for the November Plan With Me, and this spread is going to have habits on the left side, and on the right side is going to be my NaNoWriMo tracker. So I'm a little nervous because I have not gotten as much planning done as I wanted to have done at this point, but I still have, 4 days? 3 days, 4 days left to pull together an outline. I've done it before. Well, actually, before I would say it's taken me about a week, but what I have also done before is kind of gotten the basics down in a couple days, and then as I've started NaNoWriMo, kind of flesh out the outline as I go. So there's still hope. There's still hope, and I'm preparing for it by having a spread to actually track the words that I will hopefully write. And these are just your run-of-the-mill monthly log style pages, so number 1 to 30 for November, and then I've also split it up by week. I just find that having the weeks divided out helps me see that I haven't missed any days, and it helps me see where I am in the current week, and it just kind of breaks things up so it's not just one big long line of days. And to decorate this page, I'm really loosely interpreting my theme for this month, but I thought maybe these swirls could represent like the chilly November air, and the bluish greenish color is kind of also a very cool color. But really I was just kind of burned out on the watercolor. I wanted something fun and kind of mindless to fill these last 2 pages, and this is just an easy little doodle, just swirly spirals stacked up on top of one another. And that's really all there is to my setup for November. I have a good selection of spreads that I think will keep me on track, from habits, which are kind of my daily self-care type things, washing my face, keeping my skin clean and moisturized, stretching, doing a bit of strength exercises, hopefully meditation, things that are going to keep me healthy, take care of myself. And then I also have space for my more productive things, NaNoWriMo, my gift knitting, which is one of my more fun, productive things. I always hesitate to categorize it as work because then I feel like I'm sucking the fun out of my hobbies, but I do really enjoy kind of plotting things out, so it doesn't really diminish the fun for me at all. Maybe if you're the type of person who is a little bit more resistant to things that are called work, you might not want to structure your fun activities quite so much. Overall, I'm really pleased with November. I think this is one of the better spreads of this year. It just looks so nice and cool and cozy. I'm really excited. I hope you got some good ideas for your bullet journal. I hope this doesn't go up too late for you to make use of. And I want to thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to, hit the buttons if you want to see more, if you like it, you know what to do. And then I'll also link my Instagram if you want to catch more bite-sized updates over there. I will be back here on YouTube with another video soon, probably an art video later this week. So keep an eye out for that, and I hope to see you there. Bye!